What's going on, YouTube world? It is your boy P Way back with another episode of Inside P Town, your one-stop shop for everything Carolina Panthers, and this is presented by Proven Grounds. Things are getting very interesting for the Carolina Panthers. What was clear cut, we see that our eyes have been on Jalen Walker. That has kind of been the unanimous, senses of where we're going with the eighth pick. But things are not clear cut anymore. And it's getting very interesting when you look at the moves that were made recently involving Jalen Walker, involving Shador Sanders, involving Derek Carr. There's a lot of activity going on within those first 10 picks, and things are shaking up. The Cleveland Browns just made a draft day like move, which is hilarious because if you remember the movie Draft Day, Kevin Costner played the GM for the Cleveland Browns, and everyone was telling them to go after that shiny, player, that star player, in Callahan, who was a quarterback at the time, and I guess that will represent like Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. And they said, "No, man, look at the tape and watch this kid, Vernon, this edge rusher who was played by the late great Chadwick Boseman." And in this instance, I think that represents Jalen Walker. The Cleveland Browns recently just brought in Jalen Walker on a visit. And this is giving me, hey, you need to check this film, check him out one more time. I think there's something that you guys are not seeing. That's what the vibes I'm getting. The fact that they brought in Jalen Walker to check him out this late in the process, it's giving me draft day vibes. In addition, if you take a look here, look at the Raiders draft visit tracker. This I had pulled up and it shows the one and only, once again, Jalen Walker being visited by another top 10 team. And there's a lot of interest in the kid. So there's been this notion around Panther Circle on how good is Jalen Walker. People are still trying to wrap their head around whether we need to go with Jalen Walker or someone like a Tyler Warren or T Mac, the receiver out of Arizona. And this shows you just how much teams are valuing him. You have teams within the top 10 all bringing them on visits, and especially this recent move by the Cleveland Browns. There's something true to the tape that people are witnessing in his quick twitch, his motor skills, his strength, his ability to set the edge, and his ability to play multiple positions on that defensive front seven. I mean, he's a tremendous talent, and teams are picking up on that. You even heard Mike Mayock come out and simply say he has a higher NFL draft grade on Georgia's Jalen Walker than Abdul Carter. So to drive the point home and point blank period, there's a lot of interest in Jalen Walker, and him making it to the eight is not a foregone conclusion. Even with the talent of Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, Travis Hunter, those defenders that are right now slotted to be picked in front of him. He fits a positional need, and he's just a very high value with his ability to do so much on the defensive end. Now, just when you thought things couldn't get even more, shakier with everything that's going on, Derek Carr came out last week. It was reported that he may miss the entire 2025 season. And that is going to absolutely shake up how teams move, specifically in our division rival, the New Orleans Saints. Now, this is what we have to think about, how it can all, come into fruition and how things can move around. Remember, the Saints hold the ninth pick in the NFL draft. They now have a huge need for quarterback. And we all know unanimously the number one pick is going to Cam Ward out of the University of Miami. He will be going to Tennessee. That leaves QB2, no other than Shador Sanders. So now with the Saints in the picture to pick up Shador Sanders, you're going to have teams who really need that quarterback have some interest in trading up. And one that can force the Carolina Panthers, who we know Dan Morgan and both Dave Canales says that trading back is a possibility. So that can force us to trade back grab more draft picks, get more capital to fill all these holes on our defense and get that receiver for the offense as well. That's why you saw us bring in, visits like Nick Eminwari, the safety out of South Carolina, and Mikael Williams, the other edge rusher out of Georgia. This is our staff looking at all the possible scenarios and say, okay, if Jalen Walker does get picked, if someone does trade up and want our eighth pick in the first round, who's that player or a combination of players that we can grab later to still fulfill, the holes on our team? Number two, the New York Giants. Now, the New York Giants has also have been reported that they have retraced their steps and they're working out Shador Sanders privately once again. There's already been multiple visits with the team. The New York Giants were there at the I Ain't Too Hard to Find showcase in Boulder, Colorado to watch, Shador Sanders go through his pro day workout. And now they're bringing him in for a private workout again. And what does this mean for the Carolina Panthers? The Giants are under fire. The Giants are under absolute fire. Y'all know that I'm tied in with the Giants organization as my twin brother at TP Way the Giant, which we do a lot of videos together, including the mirror image on this channel as well. That organization is under fire, and their GM, who got rid of Saquon Barkley last year, he's basically in a prove it year. Him and the coach, they have to get the right results and make the right move, especially at quarterback. And they went and brought in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, and he came out publicly and said that they want their future quarterback. They want to grab that guy, also have these veterans to help mold him and get this guy on track to have a great career. And they need that franchise quarterback. With all the pressure that they're going through, and now knowing that the Saints could potentially get Shador Sanders and teams that are now interested, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have now been tied to Shador Sanders, may trade up and moved in that fifth to seventh range to beat out the Saints, to grab them. It's now pushing all that pressure to the New York Giants with their third pick to simply select Shador Sanders and get the quarterback that they seem to have a high interest for. So this does a lot of things for the Carolina Panthers strategy. We're now looking at potentially us looking to actually trade up as well. Because if this scenario happens the way that things are moving around, you'll have Cam Ward going one, either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter going two to Cleveland, and then you'll have the Giants select Shador Sanders at three. That means either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter will now fall to the fourth overall pick in the first round draft. And that's when we have to ask ourselves, how much is it worth for us to actually move up and grab that fourth round pick from the Patriots and go get either a Travis Hunter or an Abdul Carter? Or do we stay put and stay content with Jalen Walker? And this is where it gets tricky. Once again, I've expressed how a lot of teams and a lot of analysts who really watch Jalen Walker's tape are giving him such high praise, especially during the interview process. The word on the street is he's an alpha. He's the dog of dogs. He shows up with the right energy. We've seen him on interviews say how much it means to be a Carolina Panther. How he loves the idea of being a Carolina Panther. Grew up in South Carolina, is very familiar with what the Carolinas have to offer. So this is the type of player that Panthers truly want for the organization, someone who wants to be there. Do you risk that and move and trade up when there's such a generational talent that presents itself to be available, like a Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, and even possibly Mason Graham? Mason Graham now may make it to 8. The question we're going to have to answer is, what do you guys think is our best strategy? If Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter make it to that fourth pick, do you guys think that we should move up and get aggressive and go get the two, shiny stars of this draft? Or do you guys see the talent and what is truly, being possessed in Jalen Walker? Also, the value of all the measurables that he brings to this team. At the end of the day, man, things are getting interesting. It is heating up. I love the draft political games. It's just making the draft even more interesting, and the anxiety is going through the roof. Also, on draft day, here on the Proven Grounds channel, it's going to be myself, P Way with Inside P Town, teaming up with TP Way of TP Way the Giant for a live draft reaction, going through all the picks, especially, covering the Carolina Panthers and getting my live reaction and my live thoughts. So make sure you come back to this channel on draft day starting at 4:30 Eastern time and 1:30 Pacific time. And with that being said, like I always say, whatever you do, make sure you do it with love. Peace.